Happy Tuesday. It's time for coffee and cursey words. There's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened since we last talked about David Dobrik, and it was just like on Friday, and we talked a bit about the first apology video, and we talked a lot about thinking through things, feeling through things, the way that our bodies respond to things, the way that our brains respond to things, and now we're here responding to things. So today I'm going to break down kind of my thoughts on the second apology video because I was asked and I have thoughts, and then really spend some time. We didn't get to enough questions on Friday, but spend some time digging into the legal surrounding this that is potential. There is nothing filed. We don't know that there are police reports that have been filed. There is not anything that we're looking at going, oh, this has happened. I'm looking at what the potential legal kind of back end of all of this looks like because I've seen a lot of speculation and I figure it's best to just talk about it. It doesn't mean those things are going to happen. It doesn't mean I think those things necessarily should happen. We are going to break down the legal stuff that could happen and really talk about why the legal stuff is the way it is and talk kind of around it. I am going to try to not dive too deep into the underlying subject matter of the allegations that spawned all of this, but also talk about what this means for creators, for sponsors, for advertisers, for YouTube. I've definitely seen rumblings of a second adpocalypse, and that's a lot of stuff to talk about. I've got coffee. I hope you do too, or you let me know what you're drinking wherever in the world this is finding you, and we're going to get right into it because there's a lot today. Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm talking about this first, because I got asked, and since the channel has grown, a lot of what we've talked about here has been breaking down legal documents. And I do that quite a lot. I think it's a great way to learn the ins and outs of lawsuits, to watch them as they unfold. But on the podcast particularly, I have broken down the laws behind the stories that we're all talking about. This is a story that everybody's talking about. And I've seen lots of speculation about what's going to happen to David. What about his immigration status? What about the police? What about criminal prosecution? What about civil lawsuits? Is this even a workplace? What does that look like? And all of that plays into this, and the apology plays into it. And we've seen most, I believe at this point, of his major sponsors moving away. We've seen him be removed as the partial owner of a women's soccer team in Los Angeles. We've seen him have to move away from the app that has, I think, a $200 million valuation. We've seen the venture capital group that raised $20 million to deal with his app Dispo move away from the app. And part of that's because of his first apology, but I'll get into that in a minute. So I think the why is important too. The why is sometimes morality and legality don't always mesh up. Sometimes the laws don't fit with how we feel. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All of the stuff surrounding this, all of the fallout surrounding this, and what it might mean for platforms like YouTube. We saw Adpocalypse Part 1 come after the Forest video with Logan Paul. Logan Paul and David Dobrik's content seem very similar to me. Logan Paul had this like bleh, 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 joke channel, and that's literally what I get from David Dobrik's content too. I have not watched the Vlog Squad. I was not really aware of the law squad. That would probably not be the most interesting watching. The Law Squad, a bunch of lawyers sitting around going, well, it could be this. What do you think about that? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that. Oh, but what about this? Oh, I guess it could be that. I would argue that. Oh, I wouldn't argue that, though. No, I don't like it. The Law Squad. The Vlog Squad, I was not super familiar with. I was tangentially familiar with them when I heard creators like Gabby Hanna address why she had moved away from the Vlog Squad. These are all Viners, just like the Paul brothers. Vine was an app that has since gone the way of the dodo. It had little 6-second, like, kind of gotcha clips, and 6-second content blows my mind. I like even 1-minute content seems like a struggle for me because your girl talks a lot. But all these Viners that came over from that app into YouTube had to find a way to fit into longer form content. And we're seeing that some with TikTokers being like, what does longer form content, and longer form for short form content creators is like 10 minutes, like maybe 15 minutes. It's not Emily long. Emily long form content is legit. Clean your entire house and do a load of laundry while you're making dinner. Long form content. But this is not that. Dobrik and the Vlog Squad's videos are like 4 minutes and 20 seconds, I guess, is his signature length. I was not familiar with them. I had seen, again, Gabby Hanna talk about them, and then I had seen Trisha Paytas talk about them. The only reason I even, you know how YouTube works? You like go down the road of, oh, this creator seems to be connected to that creator. I wonder what that creator's saying. And that's how creators like the Vlog Squad grew, because you saw David's like 4-minute clip of an event, and then you saw the other creators also vlogging the same event. So it seemed like a friend group where everybody was just like walking around, like literally doing it for the vlog. And that's where a lot of those phrases came from. He has merch that says clickbait. He definitely leaned into that kind of cringy dude. I think something we need to remember about David Dobrik is today, and I looked it up because I was curious, he's 24 years old. That's not an excuse. It is a fact. But when we're talking about somebody making the decisions that have been made, and when we're talking about the fame and the money, we're also talking about someone who is young, very young. And that is why I think that there needs to be this conversation around when you're a creator. And I've seen estimates that at the peak of the Vlog Squad, he was making $250,000 to $300,000 a month, which I don't doubt for a second. That seems about right. That where is the accountability and where is the structure around those creators? Because with celebrities, if you see celebrities, get into this kind of shit, the studios just stop working with them, and the studios step away for a period of time. Most of the time, the studios step away for a period of time. I imagine their reps call them and are like, "You've been canceled. Like you're not hireable." I believe is the word that they use. You're not hireable right now to the studios. But with somebody like a David Dobrik, that there's no accountability measure like that other than sponsors stepping away, and that's what's happening now. But there's nothing, you don't have an agent necessarily calling you up going, we can't hire you to work. You can still pick up a camera and upload it on a platform and still have an audience. You just might not still have sponsors. And that's why I think we're going to see another wave of YouTube, I hate to call it a come to Jesus moment, but YouTube having its own reckoning within the space that they're creating too, for people to become hugely famous creators without any sort of support structure, and oftentimes without any accountability. And I'm going to break down quickly what has gone down. Then we're going to get into the second apology video, then my legal thoughts, then your questions. Deal, good, cheers. I also wanted to take a moment because I sent out a text message to all of our law nerds that are in the Boulder, Colorado area. If you did not get that, you might have just joined the text squad, and that's fine. Textemily.com. And had conversations over text with many of you that have been affected by the shooting in Boulder, Colorado. though I'm not diving into that today, it can be a very difficult topic. I don't want to trigger anyone, particularly those of you that are in Atlanta, those of you that have lived through Vegas. So many of us in our communities in the US have lived through these mass shootings that have affected our communities. And it's just heartbreaking. And so my thoughts are with all of you in Denver and in Boulder and in Colorado. It is heartbreaking seeing this. It's heartbreaking when people go to work to do their job. And the question we get in my family when we talk about this is, why? Because that's what my kids always want to know. That's what most of us want to know when shit happens. It's like, okay, well, why? Because like if I understand the why, then I can understand either how to protect myself from it, how to understand it, because we process a lot of us through understanding, and there's no understanding when people have these mass acts of evil. I don't really know what else to call it. Acts of internal terrorism, which has even become a targeted word, but it terrorizes people. So there it is. So my thoughts are with all of you in Colorado. I know some of you were very, very affected. Jake's no, not Denver. It's just, I've heard from my friends in Denver who are affected by what's happening in Boulder because Colorado feels like a small state and feels like a community. So I know there will be criminal charges today. It looks like they're already moving forward on the first degree murder charges. The person was arrested without incident. It looks like was shot in the crossfire. I know that an officer was killed. So it also affects law enforcement families in a different way as they send their loved ones out to work every day. And it's just heartbreaking, but it's hard to just jump into like, hey, a 20-year-old YouTuber or 24-year-old YouTuber is just being canceled left and right and center. And we're going to talk about that without acknowledging what's going on in the world around us and in, right on the heels of Atlanta that we're still all trying to comprehend. So I don't have a lot of words other than I'm sorry that I'm sorry that this keeps happening. I'm sorry to our international friends who are like, America, get your shit together. I'm sorry to everyone who is feeling it and trying to process it. Oh, Bethany, you're welcome. My heart just hurts when stuff like this happens and there's never the right words, and sometimes maybe acknowledging like there aren't words other than saying we are just heartbroken. So it's just heartbreaking. So to Colorado, we are thinking of you. So let's chat. I appreciate you chatting about it. I'm going to move into kind of the background of this. I know you might need to chat. And that's fine. As I move on, I'm going to move on. I just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you and that these types of evil acts are going to keep happening because they are going to keep happening. And it's just, we're going to have to figure out how either we prosecute it, how we treat it, how we understand it. Yeah. So I don't know what else to say. My thoughts are with Colorado and all of us as we're just trying to come through this pandemic and get back to our lives and be able to do things. It's hard. So let's talk about David Dobrik not getting back to his life, because that's true for him. And we're going to swoop it and we're going to get into a brief road so far. And this is a brief road so far coming from a Vulture article that really breaks down this fantastic timeline of all the shit that's gone down. And I know other creators have covered this. And if I miss creators that have covered this, so many creators have covered this and done great videos on it. When we get to the first apology, I want to talk about Peter Mon's video on this yesterday, because Peter is so fucking perceptive and he picks up things that I don't pick up. And I'm just like, oh, you're right on that. So I want to talk about that too. Okay. June 2017, Dobrik releases he thought he was kissing her video which is the incident with Seth and Jason Nash. I've talked about that. I've talked about what I think spot the issue in this fact pattern. Seth has come out recently to talk about this. And I feel like Trisha has been talking about the Vlog Squad for a while. And as other members that left the Vlog Squad brought their voices forward, that it helped bring this to a place where other victims could come forward. And I'm always torn between victims and survivors because some people prefer one and some people prefer the others. But in this case, I think that these acts that have been done are criminal. I refer to victims as victims because that is what we call them in criminal court, but they are survivors of an assault, and that is it too. So that was the Seth incident where he was tricked into kissing Jason Nash. He's talked about it after the fact that incident, later he realized this was an assault. It has plagued me. He moved out of Los Angeles and has had a hard time moving forward from that, and has talked about that openly with the Frenemies podcast and others. That happened in 2017. Also in 2017 is when I believe the Dom stuff went down at VidCon. There was a incident at VidCon where Dom was accused of a sexual assault. I don't remember what happened after that, but I have seen that those allegations were in that 2017 realm, indicating again that David Dobrik was aware that these things were surrounding Dom, that there were issues surrounding him. Def Noodles has put everything on Twitter. There's another clip where Dobrik is asking Dom and a girl that he had hooked up with, like, hey, you hooked up with him in October. Did you consent? And she's like, I was drunk. And then Dom's like, I was drunk too. See, it's consent. Ha ha ha. That's not how that works at all. And everybody's just laughing it off. And this woman is sitting there like, and that's part of what we're going to talk about later, is this power dynamic that is created with celebrity and celebrity creators and their audiences. And when you have actual celebrity, there's an awareness there. I think this YouTube celebrity that is spilled over, because Dobrik has had a show on Nickelodeon, Kids' Choice Awards. Like, he has flipped it into the kind of traditional role of celebrity beyond internet celebrity. But it feels like, I don't know, somehow because it's behind the camera, it's less real to people or less real to the creators themselves. And they don't understand that power dynamic, or they don't want to understand that power dynamic, because that power dynamic allows them to get the content that they want to get, because people are like, yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll do this. So let's keep going. In November 2018, there was a vlog that was deleted saying she should not have played with fire. That is the November vlog that contains the incident with Dom, that was a woman who was reportedly by Insider, and Kat Trenberg did amazing reporting on this, cited all of her sources, and allowed the victim in this case to remain anonymous. The victim and a group of her friends all went over to hang out with Dom at an apartment that the Vlog Squad filmed in. It seemed that they were all fans of David, wanted to see him, meet him, hang out with him. I got the sense that it was like, yeah, Dom, you're funny. Like, obviously we're not having sex with you. Like, we're not doing that, but we want to come over and meet David and hang out with David. We want to do it for the vlog, blah, 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 blah. It seems from the report in Insider that at some point David was like, hey, somebody go get some alcohol, was saying things to the girls like, be more sexy, do this, do that, and was kind of pushing them in that direction. One of the girls became so inebriated that there was no way she could have consented. She didn't remember the evening and said that she was blacked out drunk. The friend that was with her tells the same story. The vlog from that night has since been re-uploaded. The H3H3 group, Ethan and Trisha, I think it was on Frenemies, it might have been on H3 After Dark, they replayed that vlog with the women who were there blurred out. And I say women, most of them seem to be under the age of 21. When in this context, I say something like underage, I mean under drinking age. If I'm talking about someone under the age of majority, I will call them a minor. So if you are under 18, you are a minor. If you are under 21, you are underage because that is the drinking age in the US. So that is how I'm differentiating between those terms. So it seemed like most of the girls were under the drinking age in that vlog, were pressured into this act, were pressured into drinking to like be cool with the vlog and to hang out. I mean, we can joke about peer pressure all you want, but peer pressure versus celebrity pressure with cameras in your face is a whole different level of shit. And that's what happened in November 2018. The Insider article breaks down from the girls' perspectives exactly what happened. I'm not going to get into the details of that, because it can be triggering for some. And if you wish to read it, the Insider article is well done. And the Frenemies podcast also breaks down that article and breaks it down well. The woman who is a victim, the friend, both tell very consistent stories. We will come back to that later because the woman was so inebriated that there is no way she gave consent to the things that happened. And that is a huge problem when then there is adult activity, because that is then not adult activity that is consensual. That is now actually a, 4-letter R word. Again, trying to be nice with YouTube and trying not to trigger people. So it seems that David knew that Dirty Dom had an issue with understanding the boundaries of consent, that he had been accused of groping and otherwise being inappropriate with women on, it seems, multiple occasions, that when these girls came over, the bit for the vlog was going to be that Dom was having like a 5-way with all these girls, and it was clear they weren't into it. It's said within the vlog, after some convincing, alcohol, after alcohol, after alcohol. And that's not cool either. And, not legal. The individual who the Insider article points to as one of the two that went to get alcohol has come out swinging about this, and I think gotten himself into a whole nother world of mess, but we will talk about that in a minute. In September 2020, there was a TikTok series about a young man named Kareem offering his application to be a designer for Dobrik's new app. It goes viral in the videos. Kareem suggests the name of Dispo, which leads Dobrik to comment on his TikTok saying he loved the name and would be in touch. And then it is revealed that David did not hire him. David did go forward with the name Dispo and go forward with the app. In June 2020, Seth released a video titled Accountability to All Creators, and that's where he talks about the racist situations he experienced as part of the vlog squad. He talks about Dobrik doing blackface. He talks about how uncomfortable he was in that as a man of color being put in these situations, and how in coming out of these situations in hindsight, realizing that he was going along to getting along and doing so to his own detriment and potentially to the detriment of the Black community, allowing himself to be the butt of these jokes. And racist allegations and racial jokes are not something that's unknown to the Vlog Squad. It's just not a lot of what we are covering today because of the assault allegations and because of the different legalities of the two things. Though at this point in June, it seems that people were still coming out like, oh, Seth is clout chasing, Seth is doing this, Seth is doing that. Not, oh, Seth is telling his experience, we should listen to what he's saying. This echoes what others, including Trisha Paytas, have been saying. But it seemed to me that up until, yesterday, the party line with all of this had been to discredit those speaking up. And now there are so many speaking up. And again, creators like Def Noodles have been putting all of the TikToks up in a Twitter thread so you can go see them. It's a lot of people that come forward, and that is typically how these things happen. And that's why you saw things like the Me Too movement. Once you get somebody who's come forward and has not been excoriated others feel comfortable to share their stories as well, because the power dynamic has started to shift, and the more voices that come forward, there's kind of a group protection, and, oh, well, I believe you because I believe them, and I believe them because I believe them, and now there are so many stories. In June 2020, Dobrik uploaded a podcast episode called Auditioning for SNL and took the first 2 minutes of a 39-minute episode to apologize for his past behavior. That wasn't really an apology. He received backlash for what people consider to be superficial. And again, this is coming from that Vulture article. He didn't really address Seth's allegations of the racial jokes, the blackface, and other racist behavior. In February 2021, Big Nick appeared on H3H3 and talked about what happened with the Vlog Squad. And it is a pretty dark interview about what Nick went through. The Vulture article quotes him as saying, quote, "I felt worthless being in those videos. I was like, dude, why am I even like here? What's the point of my existence? Because I was just being treated like the punching bag." And it seems that the Vlog Squad had kind of one of each category. And there's been clips coming forward of David saying, we need a gay, we need an Asian, wouldn't it be great if, and trying to get somebody in each category to be the butt of the jokes. And, oh, we can make you the butt of these jokes, and you're the butt of these jokes, and you're the butt of these jokes. And I'm just behind the camera, and isn't it all fun? No, it's not all fun. And the people involved weren't having fun and felt pressured to still be there. February 12th, 2021, Seth went on H3H3 after Big Nick went on H3H3 and talks about the kissing prank that was not consensual. On February 16th, 2021, the Trisha Paytas Frenemies episode where she really dives into that hotel room vlog. And that hotel room vlog is really, really disturbing. And at the time it was all like, ha ha ha, Trisha's dating Jason. That hotel room vlog, Trisha and Jason Nash, one of the Vlog Squad members, one of the oldest, I believe. He's in his 50s now, I think, 47, 50 something. Dobrik's his best friend. He's 24. They're on this podcast together, I think. Yep. Jason and Trisha were traveling. They got into their hotel room. Dobrik was hiding in the bathroom. Apparently Jason knew this bit was going to happen, but after getting into the hotel room, Jason and Trisha engaged in adult behavior and adult activities. And when Trisha went into the bathroom after adult activities, but naked, as one does, Dobrik jumped out of the bathtub shower with a camera and was like, "Ha, God!" And she's like, "What the?" And is yelling and screaming and was like, "Get out," and is naked. And again, didn't consent to somebody being in the room while she was intimate with her boyfriend. Didn't consent to somebody filming her. Told him she didn't want the vlog put up. He put the vlog up anyway and kept it up. So it's just, I feel that Trisha got pushed aside in a lot of this, and I'm not excusing all of Trisha's behavior. Trisha's behavior has been problematic as hell. She has definitely trolled communities for content and clickbait, but also she has right to autonomy in her body, in her person, and in what she consents to. Everyone does. And that was taken from her within this group. Trisha has talked very openly about her mental health struggles after this, about ending up on a 5150 hold because she overdosed, and how deeply depressed she was. One of the things I was most upset about in all of this was, as this started coming out and as the Insider article was coming to light that it was going to be coming out, that David's lawyers sent a letter to Insider attacking Trisha's mental health. Now, people can have struggles with mental health and still be able to perceive things accurately and tell the truth. Trisha has been a troll on the internet, for sure. I have not seen Trisha caught in lies. Trisha says shit that's horribly problematic, but I have also not seen her caught in lies. So every time Trisha comes out with kind of exposing or calling out a friend group, she's done so at her own detriment. She has done so and taken a fairly big hit on social media. And I don't think that my perception, I don't think she's clout chasing in this. I think she's calling out shit that grosses her out. And this is part of that, where she's saying this was not okay. I don't love that a lawyer's like, well, you can't listen to anything Trisha says. Well, Trisha hasn't been proven to be a liar. Trisha's been a troll. Trisha has said horrible shit. She's apologized for horrible shit. She's done adult content, but none of those things discredit her credibility with regard to what she said. So there's that. Yeah. So that's where it is with Trisha. I don't like the way that the lawyers immediately went after Trisha and were like, well, you can't believe her, because everything Trisha has said, Kat corroborated with the witnesses that were there that night. And Trisha's been calling out one of the Vlog Squad members for dating a minor. She's called them out for other things. And this has been consistent in her calling out the Vlog Squad and calling out being part of that friend group. So that's what this is. And that's one of the things that really annoyed me. But I do like that Insider gave Ethan Klein, I don't know why I call him H3. It's just going to happen. Gave Ethan and Trisha the opportunity to see the letter and respond and say, this is not okay to just attack the mental health. So that's where we are with that. On February 26th, Ethan Klein accused Dobrik of covering up his assault by deleting the problematic clips of past vlogs. And during that time, it seems that Dobrik works with an MCN, which is a multi-channel network, or works with his own group. And they were doing strikes on videos that were reusing that clip to get those clips taken down. And clips re-uploaded on TikTok, clips re-uploaded on YouTube to get all of that taken down. So that's what it is. Then March 1st, Dispo launched. I can't believe it was just March 1st. Like, today is March 23rd. So Dispo was launched on March 1st. Under Dispo, the name suggested, and the article in Vulture says, although it's not illegal for Vulture to use the name, many viewers were displeased by the lack of recognition for the creator that actually suggested the name. Fair. The review section then was flooded asking for Dobrik to take accountability. That is continued. If you look at the app reviews on the App Store, some are actual reviews of the app. Most are reviews of Dobrik's behavior. He has since stepped away from the app. On March 4th, Scotty Sire, who Tough Noodles calls Scotty Sire Esquire, which just cracks me up every single time. Scotty Sire uploaded that horrible video called Hi. We talked about it briefly. He just victims, blames, shames, shifts, tries to silence Seth. But the thing that happened in that video is he had text messages and voice messages that were sent to David, which means David gave them to Seth to use to try to silence. David gave them to Scotty to use them to try to silence Seth or embarrass Seth or discredit Seth. So even, 10 days ago, 11 days ago, David was still trying to get Seth discredited, and then more came forward. Sire got excoriated for that video, put up a Notes app apology, and took it down. March 8th is when that came down, so it was up for 4 days. March 16th, the Business Insider episode came out. The 2-minute 30-second apology came up where Dobrik was essentially, and we've watched that together on the channel, Dobrik's like, you guys know me. I'm a nice guy. I have floppy hair. You like me. I've made 600 videos. Sometimes I miss the mark. I'm going to change. I'm not going to say exactly what I'm being called out for. I'm not going to address the allegations in the Insider article. I'm not going to address any of that, but you guys know me. Then On March 17th, Dobrik's Social Blade indicates he's lost 100,000 subs. By the way, on Social Blade, it only looks like he's lost about 200,000 subscribers, but his Social Blade indicates over 70 million watch minutes at this point that have been taken down. I should just pull it up. There was a screenshot. I think everybody has screenshotted Social Blade at this point. It looks like he has taken down off of his main channel, the one with 18 million subscribers, millions and millions and millions of views have been taken down. So let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna show you because y'all can do the math and then be like, oh, did Emily get the math wrong? First of all, probably. And second of all, that's why I'm gonna just show you because math. Because math. Not to be, because math. And then I moved it because we're going to Twitter next because we haven't even got to court of public opinion yet. And we're going to do court of public opinion as a palate cleanser in between all of this. But I was trying to make this bigger and then it just disappeared. Fun. Professionals with technology. Okay, so this is Social Blade. For those of you who don't know what Social Blade is, Social Blade will let you see what's going on the back end of somebody's channel publicly. So, 18.6 million subscribers, billions of video views, 616 uploads. That's less than he said, but videos have been deleted. Minus 20 million video views for the last 30 days. But here's the thing. When you look at subscribers, you can see that we're now, starting to hit the subscriber tank, but we're minus 87 million views as of today. The reason you would be minus views is because you have deleted or privated videos. So on 3/19, it was 66 million views worth of videos. On Sunday, it was 11 million views worth of videos. On Monday, it was 17 million views worth of videos. Now, could those be videos that were sponsored content that now needs to come down? Yes. Could those be videos that are things he doesn't want seen? Yes, but a lot of them have probably been re-uploaded elsewhere. So these deletes, by the way, this is the total. So when you look at this and seeing plus 2 million video views a day, he's getting about 2 million views a day on his channel. So this is a net loss, which means even if he's getting 2 million views that day, there are still some that are being deleted. There could have been things that were privated or deleted here as well, because this is lower than average. It looks like his average is about 2 million, 2.3 million a day. So this is a net, which is why when we look at the last 30 days, the net 20. But what's really telling is total video views for the week minus 87.7 million video views. That's a lot. Oh, my body had a physical reaction. That is a lot of views. And again, this could be because some of the things were sponsored content and had to be taken down now that sponsors have stepped away, or this could just be shit that's he thinks is going to be problematic. And now that everybody's pulling up everything, he wanted it down. So that's what's going on with the video views coming down. Finishing up this timeline on March 18th, SeatGeek, one of his biggest sponsors, SeatGeek had paid for some of the cars he gave away because his content was like pranks and like, oh, look, like almost Jackass type content with like friends doing shit and getting hurt. The thing is with Jackass, everybody was involved. This is David literally, my perception, making his friends around him perform for the camera. Like, do it for the vlog, do it for the vlog. It feels like this very like dance monkey dance. And even when he did his new house tour, he's like, this is the bar cart full of alcohol because my best content is when my friends are hammered. But he doesn't drink, right? Because he's the one recording it all and directing it all and producing it all and editing it and uploading it. Even if he doesn't edit himself, he's reviewing it and uploading it. So, March 18th, SeatGeek steps away. March 19th, Dollar Shave Club, a very large sponsor of his podcast, steps away. saying the actions and comments made by David Dobrik, as well as some of the members of his team, are very serious and do not align with Dollar Shave Club values. Sexual assault and hateful language of any kind is unacceptable in any environment. Notice this all happened after the Insider article. There has been stuff coming up since fall 2020 with regard to all of this. But the Insider article comes out, and I think it was A, well-researched and well-reported, B, multiple eyewitnesses, and C, so serious that at this point brands have to be like, okay, we don't align. I also think some of these brands were getting absolutely hit on their social medias with people saying, step away from David. There was definitely this call. And again, I'm not one to call to cancel people, but accountability is real. And if you're a company and you sponsor contact where people are getting injured, where people are pushing the limits, and where people are being assaulted on video and it's being uploaded for views, at some point a company has to say, that's not what we stand with. And pranks are one thing. These aren't pranks. So where are we? We're with Dollar Shave Club stepped away March 19th. EA steps away. Remember, EA Sports, by the way, helped David buy himself a Lamborghini, like sponsored his Lambo. Cute. March 20th, the vlog stuff started leaving. On March 21st, Jeff Wittick posts that My Truth video that was horrible. Jeff, one of the members who was there that night, in the Insider article, it indicates that Jeff is one of the ones who went to buy alcohol. Whether he slapped down a credit card and bought it or not is kind of irrelevant. He and another member of the squad went to go do that. Excuse me. He and another member went to do that. They came back. There was alcohol. Alcohol factored heavily into the assault of the woman who the Insider article calls Hannah for her own anonymity. So he uploads this My Truth and attacks the reporter, attacks her integrity, attacks her reporting, attacks her witnesses, attacks Trisha Paytas, attacks everybody. It was not a good look. It was clearly an emotional response. He didn't think it through, and he wrecked himself with that. He also kind of sent his 2 million subs after Kat on Twitter, which was gross. So when it came back around, Jeff had interviewed a phone call with Kat without her permission. You can't do that in California. That's illegal. I'm sure that her employer, Insider, is dealing with it, or their lawyers are. Excuse me. So much bullshit. So much bullshit happening here that my throat's actually like, no, we hate all of this. We hate it here. So it felt like Jeff tried to cancel Kat for doing her job and doing her job well. It was so gross. And recording the video, again, not legal. California is a double consent state. California, for adulty behavior, is also an affirmative consent state, which means the lack of a no is not a yes. A yes is a yes is a yes. The lack of a no is not a yes in California. It has to be affirmative. Just like if you're recording a phone conversation, both parties have to consent to recording it. And again, consent in the vlog squad seems to be a difficult concept. So he released bits and pieces of a phone call with Kat to make it seem like, oh, she felt sorry. She turned this on me. She manipulated my words. No. And then Kat released her interview with him, which was consensually recorded because she's a professional. And it showed that he was saying, I'm getting hate for this. And she's like, I'm sorry that's coming your way. Like, I'm sorry you're getting hate for this. But there's these multiple witnesses that said you guys went to buy alcohol. That's what's being said. That's what the story is. I'm sorry that you're receiving hate for it, but it is what it is. Not, I'm sorry that you did that. You're an adult and you made the choice. So then when I say so much has happened, then Jeff went on live for an Emergency Frenemies with Trisha and Ethan. Ethan, by the way, cross-examined Jeff with facts And it was pretty brilliant. Now, it was like, look, but this, but this, but this, but this. And Ethan, even when Jeff tried to scoot out of the conversation, Ethan was like, no, but this. Like, here's a direct question. Give me a direct answer. He wasn't aggressive with it. He was very consistent. And it was very interesting to see. So if you're interested in the deeper level of Jeff trying to clear his name and wrecking himself, go watch that episode of Frenemies, because they held his feet to the fire. And I think actually made some headway on what was known and what was seen. I thought it was a great live stream. I thought that Ethan and Trisha did a great job of just continuing to ask the question, continuing to ask, but this, and not letting him slip out of the answers. I thought it was great. Then we get to March 22nd. Oh my God, is that only yesterday? Lord, that's yesterday. Yesterday, Dobrik steps down from the board of Dispo. The capital firm, the VC firm says it's stepping away and severing all ties and making sure it's not profiting from the app. I have never seen, and maybe it's happened, but I have never seen a venture capital company say, we raised $20 million for this startup and it launched 20 days ago and we are severing all ties and we do not want to profit off of it. Yikes. Then you get sponsors, Frank's Red Hot, Chipotle, Bumble, SeatGeek, further announcing that they will not partner with Dobrik in the future going forward. Then late last night, you get that second apology video. For some of us, it was early this morning, just depending. So that is the very long timeline. I'm going to go through this second apology because I want to talk to you guys about what you think. And then I'm going to answer your questions about the legal stuff. No, I'm going to do the legal stuff first. Let's do the legal stuff and then watch his thing, because then we're all going to want to chat. We're all going to want to have it. We're going to want to chat about it. So let's talk about the legal stuff first. Legal shit. The legal shit behind this story. There are a couple things in the legal shit behind this Dobrik story. First, sponsorships. Some of these sponsorships are going to be contractual, potentially multi-year contractual, and are backing out. Do I think these sponsorships have morality clauses, as they're sometimes called, or behavioral clauses? Probably, because businesses, as influencers or actors or anyone, becomes problematic or kind of canceled in culture, they want to be able to step away. We have seen brands stand by people. We're seeing brands stand by James Charles, but at some point, brands will make the decision to step away. And that's what's happening. Do I think we'll see David Dobrik trying to enforce those contracts? Nope. Sure don't. Sure wouldn't be a good look. Sure wouldn't be a good look if he tried to hold the sponsors' feet to the fire in fulfilling their sponsorship obligations. That said, some sponsorship contracts might have if we choose to walk away, we're allowed to walk away and we'll just pay you in full and walk away. And that could have happened here. It could have been, hey, we're paying you out, but we can no longer be associated with you. And you might see some of that being where these videos are taken down. And please take down any videos that have sponsorships by us, which are like all those car videos, all that stuff being taken down. And we'll see if that's why he took those videos down. In the first apology, he said, I don't stand by some of this. And Peter Mon said it. He's like, oh, he's just telling us that he's going to go on a deleting spree and remove all these videos. Cause he's like, I don't stand by all of this content anymore. And then whoosh, just took it all down. So I think it was definitely his way of saying, hey, this is coming. Don't be surprised when I remove a whole bunch of shit. So first contractual item, brands. Do I think this will change brand influencer agreements going forward? No, a lot of those have already been changed. A lot of influencer agreements do have those they're called morality clauses, but kind of you need to not do horrible shit. Like, basically don't do horrible shit on the internet that, because of your association with us, is going to taint us and our brand because you've done something horrible, like, Logan Paul filming in the forest in Japan and things like that. So you will see, seeing the sponsors step away. I don't know if David will go after them. I think he will let that all go. I don't imagine there's any breach of contract. I think those clauses would probably already be in there, considering some of these contracts seem to be for substantial sums of money and brands would have to protect themselves. Second, civil liability. We're going to do civil liability, criminal liability, and then my thoughts on immigration status. Civil liability. Could there be civil liability coming out from this? Yes. How do I think that will go? Well, it depends if people want to come forward and go after that. It depends on the ways people have been harmed. We saw Seth talk about this in his video. You see the, substantial emotional distress that him being in a video that was non-consensual did to him, and how it affected him, and how he had to move because of it. So could we see things like harassment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, non-consensual use of likeness, maybe. And then these workplace claims that I talked about earlier in other videos. The Vlog Squad is a workplace. This is a multi-million-dollar company that is using people in its vlogs as if they are extras or if they are characters or actors. But this is a workplace. Do I think David pays his people like it's a workplace? Based on Trisha's statements, I'm going to guess they're probably not getting W-2s, lunch times, meal breaks, HR, healthcare, and other things. This is a workplace. Do I think we could see workplace claims? Because in California, the employment laws are not to be fucked with. So could we see work-related claims from the members of the Vlog Squad? Maybe. Would they want to potentially take the social hit to do that? I don't know. Because what we're seeing in all of this is that there are two sides of the internet. I mean, with all things, two sides of the internet. There are those who are like, but David just had a camera. He didn't really do anything. Y'all are being dramatic. And then there's the send David to prison immediately. This is disgusting. I think the actual legal is in the middle of those two positions. But you might see members of the Vlog Squad not wanting to come forward in a workplace lawsuit. Also, some of this stuff, we have statute of limitations, just depending on where we're at. But they might not want to come forward saying, hey, I was harassed in the workplace. I was not allowed to bring claims to my boss. I was booted out of the Vlog Squad for disagreeing. I never got paid properly. I never got meal times, break times, any of it. And I saw the question from Lee, and I was just going to get to this. So thank you for the question. In California, based on the way that the laws work, based on the Dynamex decision, I don't think the members of the Vlog Squad are independent contractors. I think they are probably miscategorized as independent contractors, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. That is speculation. I imagine that they are not hired as W-2 employees, but they should be, because what David's business is making videos or mini movies or episodes. And all of those people are in the episodes. And we're seeing influencers being able to enter SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild. There's an acknowledgement that this is like a movie set. The thing is, a movie set has, SAG for like safety. They have safety meetings. If you listen to the Office Ladies podcast, which is brilliant, by the way, they talk about anytime we had to light a candle, there was a safety meeting. Anytime we had to do any kind of a stunt, there was a safety meeting talking it through. Anytime we did any of this stuff, there were 6 different ways to talk it through. And there was a whole team there talking about how to do it safely. That's not happening in the Vlog Squad. No one's doing anything safely. And I think we've seen that. So with that, I think the workplace civil claims are probably hanging over David's head. I'm sure he and his lawyers have had these conversations. If he goes back to filming, I imagine that you will see it change. And he acknowledges it a little bit in this latest apology video. Like, I wish I had HR. Look, there's no rule book for being a blue check mark, but you are a business. Do not tell me that you don't acknowledge that you're a business if you're making $200,000 or $300,000 a month. A month. You are a business. You have tax people. You have teams of people. And someone on those teams of people needed to say, hey, bud, I know that this seems really fun, but we need to talk about turning this into a workplace so you don't get sued or canceled or imprisoned. We need to have that conversation. And so this needs to happen and needed to happen because we've seen members of the Vlog Squad get hurt. There's speculation that the reason Jeff has been off the internet, the guy who got excoriated on Frenemies with an eye injury, is because of an accident that happened in relation to filming something. And if that ever becomes a civil lawsuit, then we will see it. So I think this is a workplace. I think there's a lot of potential liability in this workplace. I think there is potential liability for those like Trisha Paytas, who he waited in a hotel room while she was having adult interactions with her boyfriend. By the way, her boyfriend knew David was pulling this bit and still was like leading the charge on that. Because even if Trisha was like, hey, we just got off a plane, if you're like a stand-up person, wouldn't you just be like, why don't you go freshen up in the bathroom and let her get scared by David then? Why would you actually know that David's in the bathroom, go through with having adult engagement, and then letting your girlfriend who you care about, one would hope, go naked where you know there's a 20-something-year-old waiting with a camera? What in the... Anyway, workplace harassment. Not okay. Also, for that, I think there are definite claims of negligent, at least infliction of emotional distress. Knowing that that was going to be, it's clear that it was emotionally distressing to Trisha. She talks about how much fallout her life had as a result of being a part of this toxic workplace. And I think we'll see it from other Vlog Squad members. I'm also surprised that we haven't heard shit from Gabby Hanna. Anything. Nothing. When's that going to happen? That's going to happen. I've heard. When is that going to happen? When is Gabby Hanna going to come out and stand behind what Trisha has said if those were her experiences too? When are we going to see that? Because I want to see what she has to say. She was a part of this squad. I wanted to know. So, civil liability. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, a plethora of workplace-related issues from my perspective. Plethora. Speaking of that, Melissa super chatted and said, retired HR director for a Fortune 100 company here. Oh, heck yes. California laws have implied contracts and almost always rule on the employee side. Yes, they do. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, knowing lawyers. I wouldn't be surprised if there's already lawyers either trying to get in touch with the reporters or trying to get in touch with Vlog Squad members, or, you know, lawyers who already work with YouTubers saying, hey, do you know anyone in the Vlog Squad? Do they want to talk? Because I see the employment law issues here and something can be done, and maybe we should just have a conversation so I can let them know what their rights are. And if you are a Vlog Squad member, you do have rights. It doesn't matter that there's not a signed employment contract. Employment contracts can be implied. I don't even think I said that. And I don't think the independent contractor laws are going to go in Dobrik's favor, because the Supreme Court case in Dynamex changes that test. And I believe, from what I've seen and the information that is publicly available, that those individuals would be considered miscategorized employees. No one might want to do that. Everyone might just want to move away from this. And that's okay too. It is their choice. This might be a little late, but I feel the nickname Durarte Dom isn't going to help him if this goes to court. Yeah, Dirty Dom for sure. For sure. And yes, I've read it. Yes, dirty Dom. Because they knew. Cover the actors, access, and breakdown services rap case that's going on. Terrifying police cover, such a scary power dynamic. I have not seen that, but thank you for pointing it out. I wanted to get to one more. I know I missed a few super chats earlier, and I wanted to make sure I got them as we're in the middle of kind of the legal breakdown. Could this be a catalyst to change laws revolving around victims of SA, like statutes of limitations and who is the cause of negligence? Private Joker 79, I think so. This all happened in California, and California already has changed their statute of limitations to significantly and substantially extend them. But I think bringing the conversation to greater awareness about boundaries, about friend groups, about peer pressure, about power dynamics. I think all of those are conversations that need to happen. I imagine the younger group, that watches YouTube, and when I say younger, I mean, your Gen Z, your 14, 15, 16-year-olds that like this content can be led by this content to believe, oh, you just kind of laugh and go along. No, you don't. Listen to Taylor Swift when she talks about having her ass grabbed by the DJ during that photograph and went to trial with regard to it in Miss Americana. Listen to the content around this, people coming out saying, I didn't feel like I had a choice, and understand that those dynamics can absolutely shift how empowered people feel to say this isn't okay. And I hope that the conversation helps someone say, no, this isn't okay. I don't want to be in this situation, as opposed to, do it for the vlog. It's fine. It's going to be so fun. Be fun. Be more fun. Why aren't you fun? Don't be all lame and shit. Be fun. Criminal liability. Let's talk about criminal liability. Criminal liability is a hard one for me because I am a former deputy district attorney. I have prosecuted people. I take that seriously. And when it comes to Dirty Dom, that's not even a question that we need to talk about. If the individual wants to go to the police, she can go to the police and say, this is what happened. This is the person who witnessed it. I did not give consent. This is how I know it happened. There's videos of Dirty Dom. The next day, there was a vlog of him walking out with a used condom, joking about the whole thing. It's clear that interactions happened, and there's also witnesses. Can that go to the police and be made a police report and be prosecuted? Yes. How much other video is out there? Unknown, but there's a friend that was in the room that saw it happen. So for me, if that goes to the police, they seem, from all the information I have online, to still be within their statute of limitations to do that. Does the intoxication become an issue for some juries? It can. Should that discourage someone from coming forward when there are witnesses and power dynamics? No. But also, it is Hannah, and that is the alias that Insider used for her. It is her choice to share this story and stay anonymous, or to choose to go to the police with it. Based on the fact that she went to Insider anonymously and seems to want to move on, she might choose not to go to the police on this, and that is her right. Going through a criminal prosecution like this is not easy for a victim. It is a difficult process. The constitutional rights that adhere in criminal law adhere to protect the defendant, to protect the person who the government is going to take their freedom away. Yes, a lot of states have victim advocacy laws. Do I think the victim advocacy laws go far enough? Oftentimes, no. But the victim never got a choice. There was nothing protecting them when the shit happened. They're left to pick up the pieces. The defendants have constitutional rights that protect them and protect the way things proceed. That is how the system is set up. That is how it works in whatever level of functionality it has based on given states. Juries can also be unforgiving. Juries have perceptions of how things should look, how people should act, how, a sexual assault should go down. And sometimes those perceptions are difficult to overcome. So there are a lot of factors that go into a criminal prosecution. But when you look at what is the crime, what is being said by witnesses in public, can that be presented to police and presented to a district attorney's office and decided on from there? Yes, it can. How does that work with the people who provided alcohol? How does that work to the person holding the camera? Well, getting into accomplice liability or getting into aiding and abetting liability, getting into conspiracy liability becomes a little murkier for me. Why? Well, do the members who went and bought alcohol and Dobrik himself, what is their intent? What is their knowledge? If their intent was to go loosen the girls up, which it seems to be, could there be theories of liability with regard to aiding and abetting this assault happening? Yes. Can that be hard to prove? Also, yes. Do I think that with an intoxicated witness and an intoxicated victim, that a DA's office would choose to pursue that and potentially lose it? I don't know. It depends on what other evidence there is. There's quite a lot that's been put out on video, and we know there's quite a lot that's been filmed that hasn't been put out on video. So what evidence also exists would be interesting. It's clear that the people in the video and the person holding the camera knew that those girls were over there to be part of this, like, Dom has a 5-way bit, and it's clear that they weren't into it, and then we're all of a sudden into it. The Insider article really lays out how many members of the Vlog Squad peeked in on the room to confirm things were happening. People knew what was going on. They knew when the girls got there, they're like, this isn't what we're doing. They knew they gave them drinks, and then they knew that there was adulty interaction happening. Did they know it was not consensual? Well, they knew they were drunk. And if you're drunk, you can't give consent. So from my perspective, they knew. Is that their perspective and understanding of consent? I don't think so based on David Dobrik's video. Does that matter at the end of the day? Not as much. So could there be potential liability there? Yes. Would I be surprised if we don't see that happen? No, I wouldn't be surprised. If we see the women involved choosing to go to the police, which I don't know if they want to do that, because that then does put their identity in the crosshairs of this. If they choose to go to the police, how that moves forward is going to depend on evidence being collected and what the district attorney's office in LA chooses to do. Do I think they will extend liability to aiding and abetting the RAPE in this case? I don't know. Is there enough there where you go, could? Yes. Is it unlikely? Also probably yes, based on what I've seen. Could that change? Absolutely. But again, it is the woman who came forward to Insider, Hannah. It is her place to choose, and she might not want to put herself through that. And that's okay if she doesn't. She has the right to choose that. Does that mean that others might not come forward with similar situations? I don't know. Could. And if they do, will we talk about it then? Maybe. It's a hard thing. Accomplice liability is a difficult thing, and it's difficult for a lot of different reasons, and it's difficult to get a jury behind it. But if that does happen, it can have greater impact on things like DACA, and we're going to touch on that real quick and then go directly to then go to the video, then go to questions. I feel like I've talked forever. So hello, Lori. Thank you. Scarlett's Brain on Fire says it is by default a workplace, even if they aren't getting paid. It's been mentioned that it was all for promotion and there wasn't an exchange of money. I believe under everything I've seen that this can be a default workplace, even though they weren't getting paid. Thank you, Starbound. I will take a look. So let's talk about this video No, I said I was going to talk about DACA. So DACA is the U.S. immigration rule or program that allows people who are brought here as children to stay as non-citizen residents in the US. So they're called dreamers. When this was passed in 2012, you saw a lot of stories of people who were like, I didn't even realize until I applied for college or applied for this or that I was not born in the United States. So with regard to that, an applicant has to reapply within the reapplication periods of time. If they are convicted of a felony or serious misdemeanor, they can lose their status, which would put them potentially at threat for deportation or being asked to leave the country because they no longer have a valid resident status. The definitions of that for serious misdemeanor are domestic violence, sexual abuse or exploitation, burglary, unlawful possession, use of a firearm, DUI, things like that. So with that, a conviction could be very problematic to David Dobrik if this went forward. But that is, again, an if. And that means also that if it goes forward, there isn't a deal struck with district attorneys, which happens, wherein he pleads to something different that would not put his residency status at threat. And that is something that people do ask for depending on the person's history, status, involvement, and things like that. So it is highly, highly speculative at this point. It can have a impact. And when you're charged with aiding and abetting a certain thing, you can be charged with aiding and abetting the thing. So the charges that could be filed against Dom could be felonies. And if aiding and abetting is charged in that, it could also be a felony. So it could be a problem. Does that mean that David wouldn't go to, or his lawyer go to the district attorneys and be like, look, he's behind the camera. He's not super involved. Do you ruin this guy's whole life over this thing? Look, these are the arguments that come in. I'm not saying that I agree with them. These are the arguments that I have heard from others plenty of times. He's not super, problematic. He's not going to cause other harm. He doesn't have a record. He didn't do the thing. He didn't buy the alcohol. They're all more culpable than he is. Can he plead to something else that wouldn't affect residency status? That's what they will ask. So anyway, that's what that is. So Private Joker, who asked, at very least, is revoking his DACA status an option? When it talks about criminal liability, it says conviction. It does not say suspicion. It does not say allegation. It says conviction. So conviction. And I don't think civil liability would cut it in that case. Ye Katz says, obviously it's Hannah's choice to come forward, but could staying silent endanger other women? I know she has to do what's best for her. I fear for others. I don't think she has stayed silent. I think that the Insider article has put more people on notice than if she had just gone to the police because, if David Dobrik had ended up getting arrested, but if they had just arrested Dirty Dom on this, I don't know if it would have hit things like the New York Times and all of Dobrik's sponsors. I think she has absolutely used her voice, and I think we are going to continue to see others come forward. I don't think we're at the end of this. I think there will be more. So let's talk about this video real quick. I should say do the YouTube-y things. I have not asked to do the YouTube-y things. So if you are new, go ahead and do the YouTube-y things. We're going to talk about this short video, and then we're going to just get to questions. So let's look at this video. I'm going to give you my thoughts real quick. If you haven't watched together. And we're at 92,000 subs. So if you're new and you haven't subbed, go ahead, sub, like the video. We're going to get to questions in just a minute. Let's go through this together. Let me go ahead and share so I can share it with audio so that you can actually hear it. He didn't even title it, I'm sorry. Let's start with that. Let's start with that. Thank you, Rachel. I think we can do more than 900 likes for sure. So Dobrik didn't say, just titled it the date, didn't say the thing, dropped this very late at night. 88 keys? No, not at this time. We have not seen that. I don't know if we will. So This video now has 2.8 million views. I'm not surprised by that. It has 90,000 comments, 14,000 dislikes. I disliked it. I felt the need to. 367,000 likes. And lots and lots of comments. He turned off the comments on Let's Talk. I feel like he had to leave the comments on. He put a trigger warning on this. We're going to just say that there's a trigger warning on this. I just realized that it's not pulled up and you can't see it. So that's not helpful. So let me figure out why that didn't pull up. And as I'm sitting here talking about it and you're all like, Emily, we can't see it. So video, like ratio, 18 million subs, still 18.6. I think that's a loss of 300,000 in the last few days. 2.8 million views, 90,000 comments. Honestly, there should be charges. It's insane how everything escalated. I didn't even know I was subbed to him because he hasn't uploaded in so long. It's not cancel culture if there is a sex offense involved in. It's not internet. It's not the internet. It's trauma and PTSD. Again, I agree that there's a difference between cancellation and accountability, and there is definitely time to have conversation. But this is a pattern of behavior with disregard for others, not just in this instance from him. So let's get into this video. I'm going to pause it as we go along and talk about it.
It's 1:45.
Hopefully you can hear it. Can you all hear it? Let me know if you can hear it. Let me make sure that I shared this with volume. Let me just try one more time because I don't know if I did. My computer is struggling right now and I don't know why. There we go. I think I'd shared that without audio. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's share it with audio. Nope, we don't want to do that. We want to do that. I'll start it again. All right. He just says it's late.
It's 1:45 in the morning and I'm finally by myself, which I know doesn't sound that crazy to be by yourself at 1:45 in the morning, but this week's been pretty hectic and there have been a lot of people around.
I'm not surprised there's been a lot of people around. I am not surprised. A lot of people have been like, you should do this. You shouldn't do that. I would like to know, where were the people when all this was going down? I feel like they were just saying, yes, it's fine. Yes, it's fine. Yes, it's fine. Money, 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 money. Because when we're all making money, it's all fun and games. At least he's not in a gray hoodie.
Tell me what to do, giving me advice, trying to help me, most importantly. And that was a lot. And now I just want to.
I'm sure this was a lot for you, David. But also, you posted vlogs where horrible things happened to people that got tens of millions of views, to the point where people that were in your vlogs were getting harassed on the street about being in the vlogs with no support from you. So I'm sure that was a lot for them. I mean, so now maybe you can empathize and sympathize with what those who had been in your blogs are going through, because you're now experiencing what they've experienced, but this is of your own doing. For others, it was not of their own doing.
I want to be able to do this and just shoot straight into the camera and just talk to you guys. I've put myself in a lot of situations.
Don't like the cuts in an apology video.
Where I needed to apologize for my past act.
Also, maybe just say it.
And I've never done this correctly, and I've never done this respectfully. And my last video is a testament to that. I don't want to defend that video. I don't want to delete that video. I just want to be clear. What this video isn't going to be is, it's not going to be me discrediting Trisha, Kat, or any other woman involved. I'm going to be using words that may.
I don't know if we need him to describe what the video is going to be, but
it triggers some survivors, and that's just so I don't explain anything vaguely, and I can explain every situation appropriately. I want to start this video off by saying I fully believe the woman who came out against Dom and said she was by him. As it was reported the next day, I got consent to post the video. Even though I got the consent to post that video, I should have never posted it. And
for me, it seems that he finally maybe understands why all of this shit is so bad. But it took losing everything to actually understand why this is so bad. But it seems that there is maybe some understanding. So let's see. Let's see what he says. Of course you're buffering.
What I understand now, and I didn't understand before, is that she sent that text because she felt like she had to, not because she wanted to. And
yes, because you spent the entire night, based on the insider report, saying, be more fun, do something sexy, do this, do that. There was coercion involved. And so, yes, the day after a trauma and a criminal SA happened, the victim felt that they were in no position of power to speak up and say, no, you can't use this. Juana says, David admitted to convincing Dom to do the threesome when Dom didn't want to do it on his podcast. David was definitely involved. Will he be charged? Well, Dom would have to be charged for David to be charged. So we will see. We will see. Let's continue on with what he's saying. And you guys, I know that we are talking about a video that has to do with a person. I am trying to just talk through this. It is hard to talk through this without talking through this person. I appreciate all of you in the chat for being respectful. And Kimberly, I think that's well taken. He's putting blame by saying, even though I got consent. He does say, even though I got consent. I do think he's trying to explain his thinking. And I think trying to understand his thinking doesn't excuse his behavior, but at least gives some answers to what the fuck were you thinking? So I'm going to back up a few seconds and start, and we're going to keep going on. We're a minute in, minute and a half.
She felt like she had to, not because she wanted to. And that
also on that point, sorry for interrupting again, consent after the fact, right? Like, hey, can we post it? Can we post it? Can we post it? I'd be interested to know what that looked like, because that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody.
That's fucked up. And I'm sorry. When she text, because she felt like she had to, not because she wanted to. And that's fucked up. And I'm sorry. When she later reached out a couple months later to take the video
The cuts are killing me. And yes, it was fucked up.
down, I immediately took it down. And I want to apologize to her and her friends for ever putting them in an environment that I enabled that made them feel like their safety and values were compromised.
I'm just going to say it didn't make them feel like their safety was compromised, because their safety was actually compromised because assault. So it's not about their feelings. It's about what happened. And what happened is that because you are famous, they wanted to be there. And because they wanted to be there and you had a position of power as the celebrity influencer in this situation, you were able to push them past their boundaries to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. This is not how they felt. This is what happened. There is a difference between facts and feelings.
Environment that I enabled
Here, I'm going to back that up again. So, because I've ranted and I'm putting as many cuts in this as he is.
Want to apologize to her and her friends for ever putting them in an environment that I enabled that made them feel like their safety and values were compromised. I'm so sorry. I was completely disconnected from the fact that when people were invited to film videos with us, especially videos that relied on shock for views or whatever it was, that I was creating an...
No, not or whatever it was. The videos relied on shock for views. You relied on you being you to get people to do things they wouldn't otherwise do to get the shock for views.
Unfair power dynamic. I did not know this before. It was complete.
I cut it. I'm just going to let this roll and then I will stop.
Shock for views or whatever it was, that I was creating an unfair power dynamic. I did not know this before. It was completely wrong, and I wish I was more responsible, and I wish I was more aware at the time. And fair power dynamic. I did not know.
I'm just
videos that relied on shock for views or whatever it was, that I was creating an unfair power dynamic. I did not know this before. It was completely wrong, and I wish I was more responsible, and I wish I was more aware at the time. And I'm so sorry I missed that.
Let me know what you think about that. I don't know how you're not aware and how your team doesn't make you aware, because his content relied on the thing that he's saying he's not aware of. Why do you think you're in a video with Kylie Jenner and Snoop Dogg? Snoop Dogg's not on my phone being like, hey, want to hang? No, it's because you are famous. I'm going to keep going. It is hard for me to accept that he was unaware.
Didn't know what was going on in that room, and I should have been. I should have been there, and I should have been making sure that everybody involved was taken care of and wasn't uncomfortable.
Then don't let them go into the room when they are blacked out drunk. This is something you learn. Maybe dudes don't learn this. I mean, I've not grown up as a dude, but girls, a lot of the time, from my experience, when you are at a party, especially when you are young, are looking out for things being put into other people's drinks, looking out for your friend being inebriated at a level that you're not used to seeing them at, and you rope them up in your squad and you take them away from the situation. I have pulled many a fair young lady out of situations where I'm like, what we're not going to do is continue making these decisions assuming because you are too drunk. And I have also had people do that on my behalf. So saying, I should have made sure, well, you saw that they were intoxicated and walking towards a bedroom. You knew when they came to the apartment that they didn't want to have any kind of adult interaction with Dirty Dom, and then voiceovered it through some negotiating. They changed their mind. This happened because you were a celebrity.
I don't want to use buzzwords to try to justify this or explain this, but all I can say,
but we're using jump cuts,
is people felt like they had to be silent for the sake of my video.
No, they didn't feel that way. They had to be silent for the sake, because of the power dynamic that is there. And because when you see the way that Trisha was excoriated when she spoke out against the vlog squad, people were willing to suffer the shit that happened in the vlogs, so they didn't have to suffer the shit that they would experience if they spoke up. It wasn't a feeling, that was the circumstance. Also, Annie brings up a great point. We've seen multiple people come forward and say, look, if we spoke out and said we didn't like the video, David offered us money to leave the video up. So he was paying people off more than a few times. Hey, let me give you this money. let me give you this much money. We can leave it up. We can leave it up. So he knew people were uncomfortable and was paying them off. Okay, I backed up a little. I'm going to try to let it run. I'm going to try to let it run. I'm going to try to let it run.
Words to try to justify this or explain this, but all
he says is he's justifying and explaining. I honestly, and you guys, I will say, I honestly think that perhaps David does not know better. And that is part of this conversation. He has no excuse for not knowing better, but should have known better. But we don't know what's in his head. Does he really not know? It's possible. That's why I wanted to talk through this video, because there's no excuse to not be aware of these power dynamics.
Can say is people felt like they had to be silent for the sake of my video, and that's not right, and it's fucked up, and I'm sorry. I also
agree with all of that. It's not right, and it's fucked up. And he does say, I'm sorry. There's a jump cut before it, but I agree. That part I agree.
also want to acknowledge the women that spoke out against Dom in 2018. I'm talking about Allie, and then I'm talking about other girls that address their problems privately or publicly.
You knew that Dom was a problem. You knew that Dom took consent as something that's nice to have and not like a hard and fast rule, which it is, and yet allowed girls under the age of 21 to come over to hang with you, to allow Dom to have the escapades he wanted to have that he wasn't going to have on his own. And the reason he got that is because of you. Def Noodles posted a TikTok today of another young woman who straight up shared that Dom was like, no, David will be here. Come over to my apartment and meet him. Guess who wasn't in the apartment? David. There's no way he didn't know that Dom was using his name to lure chicks in. Allie, he doesn't even address the underage girlfriend. He doesn't address the minor. And that's one of the things that Trisha called out a lot. But your friends are dating minors. We're going to continue.
I'm sorry I didn't listen to you guys. I am sorry that I took Dom's word for what happened in those certain situations, and I didn't believe you. And not only did I not believe you, but I made a joke of what kind of a person Dom was, because I couldn't wrap my head around a childhood friend of mine doing this to people and actually hurting people. And I'm sorry for that. Not only did I discredit you, Allie, but I platformed Dom. And not only did I platform Dom, but I platformed the subject of sex in a negative way where I made jokes about it. And I reinforced that kind of behavior.
And made money.
I'm so sorry. And I really let not only you down, but a lot of people down, a lot of people that watch me and my friends and family for that.
I actually think this part of the video is sincere. I really do believe it's sincere. I didn't mean to pause it like this, but it's what it is. I do think he actually didn't believe them. And I think it does take awareness to say, I didn't believe these women because I wanted to believe my friend. But that's a problem that comes from him not having respect for women in these circumstances and not hearing them, not listening to them, and not saying, wow, this is more than a few women coming forward talking about dirty Dom. And I'm just going to be like, yeah, whatever. We're going to make a joke about dirty Dom and make jokes about him not having consent. But that goes to an underlying distrust for when women tell their stories. And this happens to women. And I think this video is really putting a spotlight on the fact that the underlying, waves of misogyny where it's like, oh, well, women lie for attention. And we saw that with Meghan Markle too, right? We saw, oh, well, women lie for attention, women lie for clout, women lie for this. Well, when that is the narrative that has been forced, you end up with a David Dobrik who's like, what? Women lie. I believe Dom. I don't understand. Well, maybe now that you've lost everything, we've come to some understanding and can have a conversation, which I think him sitting down and putting this on video allows for there to be a conversation. Charlie says, as a white gay guy, I'm only taught things like this when I came out, aka the more threatening, aka a more threatening group. The only things I was taught were about how to be less threatening. Before that, nothing at all. Yeah, well, I mean, it's something we can all do better. I mean, I'm a boy mom and I hope to raise amazing and respectful young men. But I also realize that my teen gets picked on at school for saying, hey, that's not cool to make jokes like that. But it takes raising young men who are willing to say, no, that's not just fun. It's hard to do, but this is a cultural shift. And we're seeing cultural shifts in a lot of ways in the US. I can't speak to other places in the world, but we are seeing cultural shifts coming up. And I agree with you. Drum Corps Freak, love the name, but yes, people do focus on protecting their daughters. But I think all of us need to talk about, we shouldn't have to protect our daughters if we also have sons that are respectful. And just teaching people to be respectful of one another shouldn't be hard. Respect someone. It doesn't matter what their gender or non-gender is, what their religion is or non-religion, what their race is, what their orientation is, what their socioeconomic status is. Have basic respect for other fucking people. And we don't end up with this. Well, there's a lot we wouldn't end up with if we just had basic fucking respect for one another. Okay. I'm going to keep going, and then we're going to get to questions. I realize it's now been like an hour and a half. And I'm going to pull up some more of your super chats in just a moment so we can have a conversation about this, which is why I did the video last.
Decision to no longer film.
Hold on. I do think, though, in this, he voices what a lot of people have going on in their head. Even if you think it's shitty, he voices what a lot of people have going on in their head. And we can have a conversation about it.
And I'm sorry for that.
And I think that that's important. I don't think it makes it acceptable, but I think that it's important.
It made a joke of...
Oh, I'm going back a little further.
Dom's word. 2018.
Allie, by the way, is the woman who made allegations against Dom with regard to VidCon, to the best of my memory.
Right, and it's fucked up, and I'm sorry. I also want to acknowledge the women that spoke out against Dom in 2018. I'm talking about Allie, and then I'm talking about other girls that address their problems privately or publicly. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you guys. I am sorry that I took Dom's word for what happened in those certain situations, and I didn't believe you. And not only did I not believe you, but I made a joke of what kind of a person Dom was, because I couldn't wrap my head around a childhood friend of mine doing this to people and actually hurting people. And I'm sorry for that. Not only did I...
And that, again, is an apology for them to choose to take or not take, for them to choose as sincere or not sincere. But I think that David is voicing what happens in a lot of people's heads. It's a privileged position. It's not okay, but it's, I didn't believe the women, and I should have. And that's for them to choose whether they take that apology or not, and whether he came to this realization only because he lost so much, and whether he's actually voicing it because he's lost so much is, up for conversation for sure.
Discredit you, Allie, but I platformed Dom. And not only did I platform Dom, but I platformed the subject of sex in a negative way, where I made jokes about it and I reinforced that kind of behavior. And I'm so sorry. And I really let not only you down, but a lot of people down, a lot of people that watch me and my friends and family for that. I made the decision to no longer film with Dom in 2019. And I'm not saying my content has been brilliant since then, but
I feel like it's an excuse. I'd like to know what you think. Does this need to be here? I feel like it's an excuse. It's like, oh, I moved away from him in 2019. It's like, oh, okay, but what did you? We're just gonna let it roll. I feel like it's an excuse.
That's when I first started taking into account the power dynamic and what influence I had on people that I was filming with. But what I didn't do is I didn't go back to any of these women and apologize. I kind of moved on. And
also, not just women, because also Seth, also others in your group that, though it wasn't necessarily sexual in nature, there are other people that you hurt with things that you did, not just women in your group, also men in your group. Also, it is not lost on me that the first inclination here was to discredit Seth for as long as possible, then put out the video, let's talk with comments off that he got excoriated for, then lose everything, then make this.
And I learned from it and I grew from it, but I didn't address the situation with these women. I'm not talking public.
If he learned from it and grew from it, what I would have anticipated, and again, this is not an apology for me, I have not been victimized by Regina George in this situation. If he learned from it and grew from it, I would think that the first reaction would not be to try to silence and discredit Seth, to attack Trisha's mental health through lawyers, to give Scotty Sire texts and voice memos saying, but look, what he's saying isn't really true. He's clout chasing. I think that if you learn from it and grow from it, that this is the first video, not having your friends attack Seth. My opinion.
I'm saying even privately, I didn't reach out to any of these people. And that breaks my heart knowing that I was doing all this stuff and I was making all this content while there was people that were still really hurt by what I made before my content.
People weren't just hurt by what you made, though. People were hurt by what was done to them in situations that you set up. They weren't hurt by the videos. They were hurt by the assaults. The videos are a byproduct.
Content shifted to be more
we don't give a fuck about your content. Keep apologizing. But
by what I made. Before my content shifted to be more responsible and positive, I said and did things that were really offensive. And
it's interesting to me that he's trying to say, but remember, my content has shifted. It's more responsible and it's more positive. Remember, my content has shifted. SeatGeek, it has. It has. I'm telling you that it has.
I called them bad jokes, and I can't even call them bad jokes. And it was cowardly of me to say in my life.
Because they were sexist and racist and people were assaulted. They're not bad jokes.
And I called them bad jokes, and I can't even call them bad jokes. And it was cowardly of me to say in my last apology that I missed the mark because it's fucking gross. And I'm sorry. A lot of people reached out to me.
Agree that it's fucking gross.
Saying cancel culture is bullshit and you need to fight.
Who reached out to David and was like, hey, this is cancel culture and it's bullshit? Because there's a lot going on here that's not just cancel culture. There's a lot going on here that is deep-seated misogyny. It's not just cancel culture. This is accountability. There is a difference between cancel culture and accountability. There's a difference. There's a difference. So, all right. There's a difference. We're going to keep going. And I will get back to the chat. You guys, I've missed a few super chats. I will get back to it. I want to try to get through this. I'm trying.
People reached out to me saying cancel culture is bullshit and you need to fight back and you need to call people out. And I don't agree with how this should be taken.
However, the first thing that happened was that Scotty Sire was given text messages and voice memos to attack Seth's account. So that happened first. First you attacked and it didn't work. And now we're here.
And I'm sorry. A lot of people reached out to me saying cancel culture is bullshit and you need to fight back and you need to call people out. And I don't agree with how this.
Also, if you are someone who reached out to David after the Insider article and were like, you need to fight back against what these women are saying, when there are witnesses to the assaults that happened, no, nope, that's not it. That's not it. He was aware about Dom's history and still. I agree, Antigone, he moved away from Dom because it was good for his image. He didn't care about what Dom had done to the women, not until it came to bite him in the bank account. Yep.
It should be taken at all. And I think when there is a crisis,
the cuts are killing me.
There's a serious opportunity to correct
this. I want to know what that, hold on. I have questions.
At all. And I think when there is a crisis, there's a serious opportunity to correct yourself.
Who is this a crisis for? I have questions, because sexual assault in America is a crisis. We have other crises. Sexual assault is a huge issue. But this is a crisis for you. A crisis for you.
To learn and improve and to make sure those mistakes don't happen again.
Earlier in the video, though, he said, I moved, like a minute ago, I moved away from Dom. I have learned and grown and improved. And now he is just saying, there's an opportunity for me to learn and grow. Well, when did you learn and grow? After you moved away from Dom and your content became more mature, or now?
Opportunity to correct yourself, to learn and improve, and to make sure those mistakes don't happen again. And that's why it is so important to hold yourself accountable. And I think with this situation, there's a lot I can look at and there's a lot I can learn from. But there's,
again, for the people he's apologizing to, they get to decide if he is holding himself accountable. His sponsors are holding him accountable, or at least they're holding themselves accountable to not promote this. So
there's a lot of mistakes that I made, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for everybody I've let down. I'm sorry to my family, and I'm sorry to my friends that I've embarrassed, and that this won't happen again.
And again, I'm sorry to the women who were assaulted. I'm sorry that people used my name and fame to take advantage of you because you were vulnerable. I'm sorry that I didn't have a team around me that knew better. I'm sorry that I pushed my friends to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. I'm sorry that when people leave this friend group, they want to end their lives. That's not normal. That's not okay. It's not okay. We're going to keep going. We're at 5 minutes and 14 seconds in.
I might take a short break from all the social media stuff because
I don't think you have a choice, brah. So I'm glad you're saying it, but I don't think you have a choice but to take a break. And hasn't he been on a break other than showing off his new bougie house? Hasn't? From videos? Okay.
Friends that I've embarrassed, and
with the
this
cuts
won't happen again. I might take a short break from all the social media stuff because I realize there's a serious lack of infrastructure when I make any kind of content, and I want to be able to have a place of checks and balances. I want to have HR, and I want to be able to have.
I want to not get sued going forward. When you're making hundreds of thousands a month, you need those things in place, and someone around him should have said this to him too. But also, he is 24 years old and has a lot of money and power. And there are no adults in the room, including Jason Nash, who's actually a grown-ass adult. And that's not by way of an excuse. That's not by way of making this okay. This is not okay. But those structures should have already been in place because he was essentially running a production studio, but without any accountability. And now all the accountability is coming at once. So it was all good. It was all good until we were canceled. In 2018, when he moved away from filming with Dom, please, if I'm wrong, let me know. But in 2018, he's saying he grew and learned and moved away from Dom. Did he apologize? Did he take down videos that were being monetized? Did he do anything other than slowly move away and hope that nobody went back to look? Because it feels like he just moved away because it was good for him and hoped nobody would go back to look. Anton Lewis King says, the more he says I'm holding myself accountable and I've learned, it just seemed like he's deflecting and saying very insincere words. I mean, I'm sure he sincerely is feeling this, but I don't know if he's feeling it because he's horrified that this all happened or if he's sincere because he's losing all the things.
People communicate discomfort.
But for all influencers going forward, I think this is a valuable point. You are running businesses. You are running production companies. You are running movie studios. And you have to have structure and rules and policies because the states aren't going to keep allowing YouTubers to just do whatever. Mai says the cuts, the voice cracking, the excuses, and the man-child appearance, he's pandering to his audience, yes, of impressionable kids. So no, I don't feel bad about him being canceled. Take that Kids' Choice Award. Oh, not like take that Kids' Choice Award, but take the Kids' Choice Awards. I would like to see Nickelodeon say something because they've definitely supported both David Dobrik and James Charles. Okay. At least I don't think the video is monetized. So there's that.
But there's a lot of mistakes that I made, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for everybody I've let down. I'm sorry to my family, and I'm sorry to my friends that I've embarrassed, and that this won't happen again. I'm going to take a short break from all the social media stuff because I realize there's a serious lack of infrastructure when I make any kind of content. And I want to be able to have a place of checks and balances. I want to have HR, and I want to be able to have people communicate discomfort in a way that's comfortable to them.
Look, people need to communicate not just discomfort, but actual bad shit that happens without being exiled from the friend group. It's not just like, I want it to be comfortable for you to bring up issues with the vlog squad or say to me, well, you jumped out of a shower and filmed me naked when I didn't know you were there. And I told you that that was awful for me and you didn't give a fuck. So I don't think HR is going to fix that. That's an internal fix.
And where they don't feel like their emotions or what they're doing or how they're acting is compromised. It doesn't feel.
I think he's shifting blame on people again.
Indicate discomfort in a way.
It's not about HR to communicate discomfort in a way that's comfortable for people. It's you actually listening and taking action on it that matters. Okay.
A place of checks and balances. I want to have HR, and I want to be able to have people communicate discomfort in a way that's comfortable to them, and where they don't feel like their emotions or what they're doing or how they're acting is compromised.
Again, it's not how they feel. It's that's the reality. When people voiced displeasure, they were exiled from the group. That's not a feeling. That is a fact that that's what happened. So it was creating an environment where people could not voice anything because they were exiled.
It doesn't feel right to go back to posting like I have been. And it also doesn't feel right to go dark because I love what I do.
Okay, so you just get to not go dark because you love what you do. This actually shouldn't be about you. It's happening to you, but it's not about you. It's about what you've... Okay. This is a fantastic point, Isabella. Interesting. Never heard of an essay called Uncomfortable before. Yes.
Or how they're acting is compromised. It doesn't feel right to go back to posting like I have been. And it also doesn't feel right to go dark because I love what I do. But I think it is important to show that change is possible and that I'm learning. Maybe even forgiveness is possible. I want to use this opportunity.
Maybe even forgiveness is possible. Jump cut. No. If you want to ask for forgiveness from those you have harmed, ask for forgiveness from those you have harmed and say, I understand that you are not obligated to forgive me for this. You don't have to forgive me at all. But I hope that I can apologize and make you feel heard because I finally hear you and it is too little and it is too late. And I know you don't have to forgive me. And maybe I shouldn't be forgiven. Not forgiveness is possible, jump cut.
And that I'm learning. Maybe even forgiveness is possible. I want to use this opportunity to step up and own my mistakes. And like I said before, I've never done apology the right way. And I'm sure I'm going to look back at this and I'm going to be pissed at some things that I didn't say or I wish I could have added more.
We don't care if you're pissed at yourself. Not at all. We don't care if you're pissed at yourself. Don't care if you're pissed at yourself. Don't care if you are pissed at yourself. Here's the thing with apology. These are things that I did in situations I created. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Forward action.
But this is my beginning to that, and I'm sorry for everybody that I hurt. I also want to add that I'm making myself available to anyone that wants to reach out that I've hurt in the past. I want to be able to hear and understand from yourselves, and I'll be reaching out on my own.
Look, I think it's a good thing that he's saying, I am here to hear you, but also it is not on them to educate you about what you've done because they have made videos and they have talked about it. It is on you to go and look at what they've said and go to them. I'm sitting here so you can come to me and explain to me how hurt you are by me. No, it is not on them. I am sorry. I am going to reach out to those that I have hurt so I can apologize to them directly because I finally understand the impact of what I've done. Not, I'm here for you to educate me about why this is bad. Go and look at what they've said. I can't categorize all. Lots of people have made public comments. Lots. Yes, the comments are on. There's over 90,000 comments. I'll refresh this after I'm done. There's over 90,000 comments. But the people who are harmed are not responsible for coming to you so you can feel better that you've talked to them and clear your conscience. That's not on them.
To some people, because I still
I cut over and rambled on what he said.
Yourselves, and I'll be reaching out on my own to some people. Making myself available to anyone that wants to reach out that I've hurt in the past. I want to be able to hear and understand from yourselves, and I'll be reaching out on my own to some people because I still have a lot of learning to do. And I think when you talk to other people, especially about experiences like this, it really helps you see things in a different way. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Again, him saying it helps me understand why this is harmful. It's not educate David. David needs to figure that shit out. Okay.
If this video was all over the place, I just wanted to sit and talk and ramble, and I really truly hope that someone can take something away from this experience, that another creator can take away from this. And I know it feels, because I know how crazy it felt to me that there was some sort of toxicity or some sort of power dynamic in my friend group. But
seriously, it feels like what? It feels like what? It feels like what? It feels like you made a lot of money off your friends doing horrible shit because they wanted to do it for the vlog. Again, facts.
really just take the moment, especially when creating content that you're trying to get viewership out of, or you're trying to get laughs out of. Like, really take a moment and look at where the jokes end and where the feelings begin, because I think that's so incredibly important.
I think now that that's so incredibly important because people told me that the jokes weren't funny and I didn't give a fuck. Also, I do not edit down hours and hours of content. You all know this. There's little editing that happens, and Tech Valor helps me edit. But editing down videos takes time. So there's no way you're telling me that you don't have a moment when you're watching back footage, clipping stuff together, and turning it around. It's not as if you're live streaming it. This is edited and uploaded. We're almost done.
Where the feelings begin, because I think
also, someone telling you that something is assaultive, somebody telling you that something is racist, somebody telling you those things aren't just feelings. Those are also facts. Like, assault is a fact. It's not a feeling. There was not consent. Shit still happened. Not a feeling. Fact.
that's so incredibly important. Okay. I'll see you guys. Bye.
All right. I'm going to refresh that. I'm curious as to how many comments it has now.
145.
Hold on. We're not going to watch it. We don't want to watch it again, but we're now at 3.46 views, and it's jumped almost 10,000 comments in the time that we've talked through that. So I'm not surprised. People are going to have a lot to say. Let's get to questions. I know we've already been interspersing them in between. I didn't anticipate for this to go so long at all, but I also thought it was important to break that down. I think that Scarlet Rogue, exactly. It's crazy how it felt to me too. Like, it's crazy when people pointed out to me that this shit was problematic. I think that's true. I think that's an honest statement from him, that he thought that this was crazy when it all went down. And he's like, people feel that way? Weird. What's wrong with them? Kathy K said he told Jason Nash people were sensitive if they cared about having pennies thrown at their feet for being Jewish. So I don't think he cares personally. As I recall, that was Jason saying that was hurtful to him growing up. And David's like, yeah, but that's funny, man. Why are you hurt by it? David strikes me as the kind of guy who looks at his friends and is like, don't be a pussy, man. Like, that's the vibe I get from this friend group. And it's not okay that if his friends came to him with feelings, that he would shame them and be like, why are you being so sensitive? I don't think he would say it in that way. I think he would say it in a more aggressive way. Queen says, just a typical, I got busted, so now I have to apologize. YouTuber, influencer, apology, sans gray sweater. Brianna said, this type of I'm sorry is what I've taught my children means. Forget what I did because I'm uncomfortable with the consequences. My kids know better. A grown man surely should. A grown man should. I honestly don't think that he does. Should. I don't think that he conceives yet why this is all wrong. I think that it is starting to dawn on him. Rin said, how come it still has 398,000 likes? I think people think this is a sincere apology. I think some think this is a good apology. I think some are like, David's taking accountability. I think there's some that think that. It's not for me to decide. It's for me to point out, look, you've talked about how other people felt a lot without talking about that some of these are facts. Also, he said he's recording at 1:45 in the morning. So I'm sure all day yesterday, this was getting edited and running through PR and then went up late last night. Keemstar, I believe, did a live. I saw some of it, did a live response, which is why I was tweeting last night. I saw stuff going on Twitter when I was finishing up work way too late. When you want to know why it's puffy, it's because we don't go to bed on time, and I'm old. But other people did live reacts. I think some people think that this was a great apology and that this was David being sincere. The problem is, if he's being sincere, then a conversation about the staggering lack of awareness and privilege need to happen, because it's a privileged position to be like, well, I'm not aware that there's a power dynamic there. Well, is that because you've never been in a position where you've not been the one in power? And if that's the case, which I suspect that it is based on this video, why haven't you ever tried to do better? And why haven't you listened when the people around you tried to tell you? So I think his lawyer probably did approve this. The H3 podcast posted like half an hour ago. I will absolutely be checking that out after this video too. I don't know if he's demonetized, but YouTube demonetized Shane Dawson. And the thing that's interesting to me about YouTube, and I like YouTube as a platform, I do. There are problems within any platform, but when YouTube started demonetizing prank channels and not showing them as much, this channel was still getting pushed. I imagine he's in whatever the premier, other YouTubers know this better than I do. I'm not that fancy, but the premier creator program, the one that I didn't even know existed until Logan Paul got dropped out of it. Has that happened yet? I would like to hear what YouTube's doing, because YouTube really throttled this prank content because it can be so harmful for audiences to see and to try to emulate. But his channel, that's mostly that prank kind of content and then gifting cars when he had nothing else to do, didn't seem to be affected the way other prank channels should be. Also, so Allie's Corner says, so was this apology? So there is no way he recorded this last night and ran it through his legal and PR. I think it was recorded, speculation, at like 1 a.m. yesterday evening, and then it spent the day being run through people and then got posted at, what time did it get posted? Pacific, like 11 o'clock, whatever, Pacific Standard Time ish. So I think it took a whole day to get it posted. I am also a little surprised we have not heard from his ex-girlfriend, Liza Koshy, for sure. Look, people need to be given a chance to change. I agree with that. He's only 24 and doing his best to say he's sorry. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let him take his break and show that he's changed. I am not going to say I can accept or not accept his apology. I'll be interested to see what those harmed by his behavior say. Do I think he's trying to take accountability? I think he's trying to. Do I know what the motives are behind that? If he's actually having a realization that, oh shit, I didn't actually know what it was, versus, oh shit, I'm losing everything. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Olivia says, this is so infuriating. It's crazy. What is YouTube? I think you're saying doing about this. I agree. How is there that many likes? I think that people really do think that this is a sincere apology. And we'll see. I would like to see, again, the perspective of those that have been harmed. What I saw were a lot of feel statements like, I'm sorry that you felt this way. No, things happened. Those things aren't feelings. Those are facts. But also, yes, he is 24. It doesn't make the behavior any better, but his understanding of everything needs to be a conversation, because until we get to a conversation about, if you've only been in a position where nobody's called you out, where you've never felt unsafe, where everything you've done has been fine, he's like wandering around going, this is all great. Of course nobody speaks up. And if they do speak up, they're just being too sensitive. That's the fucking problem. Smaget, I hope I pronounced that right. I talked about that earlier with DACA for when I looked at the legal stuff, criminal allegations need to be convictions. And so we will see. There need to be convictions. There are no convictions here. There are no criminal charges here. We will see what happens. I am not sure. I do not doubt there's an emergency. Oh, I knocked stuff over. I'm going to be wrapping up soon. I do not doubt there's an emergency podcast on H3H3. I'll be interested to see their thoughts on it. There's a lot of feelings statements in that. So I'm going to get through a few more questions. Hello, goodbye. Said, now that you said that, wonder if YouTube reached out to David about the possibility of closing his channel due to the backlash and pressure companies were facing, because even for VCs to speak out. Wow. Yeah, the VCs, and for everybody who's just joining, venture capital company that gained the 20 million funding for the app Dispo, has stepped away and said they won't be profiting off of the app. David Dobrik has stepped away from that app. We haven't even heard, have they taken the game that's like gambling for kids out of the stores yet? I don't know. But I think at some point YouTube will have to say something. Actually, creator Roberto Blake, who I quite like, he's a very insightful creator, and knows YouTube inside and out better, I think, than most, made an interesting statement on his channel. Let me pull up his community tab real quick and show you what he said, because I am curious to see what happens from here. And I think Roberto made a very interesting comment about it. So let me pull up his community tab, because it's going to affect all creators. And I think knowing, I have to change my screen sharing. Hold on. Because I had it so I could share. Professionals, people, we're professional streamer. We're not. All right. What Roberto said on his community tab, how can I make this big? Read more. He said, industry speculation. He's a YouTuber, over 500,000 subs, great content, very insightful creator. And I love that Roberto always asks like the why questions. It's like, well, why and how and why and how. Fascinating. Love Roberto. Industry speculation. Currently, I am forecasting a potential Q2 adpocalypse. Q2 starts next month. I am not formally making this speculation in a video for the time being. I believe the same conditions that led to the previous losses of advertisers' confidence in the past currently exist. And that was the Logan Paul Forest video that was a substantial issue, because advertisers were like, well, what the F is happening on your platform? The creators are doing this shit, doing it for the views. This is a huge problem. These creators are wild. We can't have our brands popping up ads in front of these videos that aren't right for us. And we don't trust YouTube to show, a family-friendly brand in front of a Logan Paul video or what have you. I believe that the same conditions that led to previous losses of advertisers' confidence in the past currently exist, and that the mainstream media has ample opportunity to frame the influencer industry it directly competes with for advertising revenue as negatively as possible. I think that's a very, very interesting statement, because mainstream media is still struggling for attention versus influencers. There is this push-pull for ad dollars. And so this might be an opportunity for TV shows and networks to say, look, don't put your ad revenue over on the YouTubes. See what happened to their golden boy, David Dobrik. I expect a negative news cycle around the industry for the next 2 months. Ad rates won't be affected until May through June, if they are affected at all. I also expect additional morality clauses, even if they won't be called that, to exist in brand deal contracts going forward. A lot of them already have that, but I expect we'll see them more regularly. I agree. Brands as a whole will likely pull back their brand deal budgets to do more internal work on their protocols for partnering with influencers before launching their summer campaigns. And the bar for influence vetting probably will reach a peak high, closer to what it was in the early days when brands didn't trust influencer marketing to be effective. I recommend that all creators look harder at diversifying their income from brand deals and ad revenue, and look into building an e-commerce business supported directly by their audience. Again, diversifying is always a good idea if you're a creator. and into affiliate marketing, even if you have to build a secondary brand and another audience from zero in another niche that's more profitable. I also advise creators to consider what the most extreme interpretation of, quote, brand friendly and, quote, advertiser safe will look like going forward. Probably not as many curse words. We love curse words, though. Treat this as a legitimate career and a business always. It may feel less fun, but it will cause you less stress. So I think Roberto's insights here are bang on with this, and I think we will see it. But the thing is, it doesn't just affect the creators that do this shit. It affects all creators. And I think that's why you see this difference in creators talking about these things and creators wanting to hold other creators accountable and be like, this was a problem. You can't do that because it affects all of us on the platform. And having conversations, I think, is a good thing. Ms. Mana said, David never apologized when the victims came forward, but he did when the sponsors pulled out. This isn't about remorse. It's about money. YouTube should have never allowed this. I believe the more you're making YouTube, the more they turn a blind eye. I know a lot feel that way as well. David is still a golden boy, says Lisa. He was such a crossover success and made YouTube so much money. I don't think this is going to hurt him in the long run. The thing is, if we do go through an adpocalypse, it will hurt other creators while potentially not hurting him. They are so fun. Queen of Catastrophe. Hello. Question. Have you heard about AI influencers? Yes, we talked about that last Tuesday when I was talking about deep fakes. It did come up. Non-problematic influencers for ad companies. Do you think advertisers will invest more in these? We will see. The parasocial relationships are different. And that's part of the reason influencer marketing works. It's because, you find people that are drawn to a particular thing. I think AI works well for younger audiences, and younger audiences is who, David leaned to. Age restrictions are definitely helpful on YouTube, but advertisers have to be cool with age restrictions too, and not all are. I'm interested to see, Janie Kim, what YouTube says, because YouTube's silence is very interesting. This has happened, all things considered, fairly quickly. Advertisers and sponsors have reacted very quickly. So we'll see. Hardly K said, question, I would love to hear your thoughts on what could be potential implications, impacts to YouTube platform creators as fallout from multiple situations that have occurred over the last year. I think Roberto's point is well taken, that we will definitely see advertisers becoming nervous, and that can affect the entire platform. It affects ad rates. It affects the way videos are pushed. And I really think we're already seeing a lot of the morality clauses. I don't know. I think we will see a push on platforms for creators to actually operate as businesses. I think we're going to push that. I think we're going to see that being pushed across the different states too. So we will see. I don't know what I can add to what Roberto said, because I think a lot of that we will see and have started to see. Reen H. Oh, heck yes. The algorithm does not care for morals or feelings. Right. Well, it's AI. It's absolutely AI. So that's what it is. Mick Travel Chica says, unfortunately, some people don't care or make effort to understand errors until they are forced to. True. If this is what it takes to make him get woke, then hopefully he changes. I'm not going to speculate on whether or not he is a sociopath. I think that word gets thrown around YouTube very often. Well, we're going to see how it plays out. We will see if legal comes into this. I think there's a lot here that could be legal. We will see if that happens, because people have to be willing to run it down. So the legal would come from the other people that were hurt in this, and come from the Vlog Squad, and come from the victims. We will see. So we will see. Janie said, dear mods, thank you for your works. This isn't an easy one. The mods have been through some heavy topics lately. I'm going to do a quick court of public opinion and let you guys know I'm not premiering a new video tomorrow, because I spent a lot of time hanging out with my kids and the new kittens over spring break and didn't do one. There will be a new podcast audio only episode tomorrow, but there will not be a new video episode tomorrow. We're going to do a quick court of public opinion. If legal stuff comes up, I will talk about it. But I think for now, we have covered the legal and we have covered the legal behind these power dynamics pretty thoroughly. I don't think we need to do it again. There are other things we need to move on to. We were supposed to do other things today. But again, the law behind the stories we all want to talk about, this is the story we're all talking about. So we'll see what happens next. And I will see you guys in the frenemies chat if they're live today. I'm absolutely going to watch it. So let me pull up my Twitter and let me pull up my community tab, and then we are going to leave on the court of public opinion note. This was a heavy one, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Annie J, yes, I'm interested in the Dr. Dre divorce too. And Bethany Frankel's divorce is finally final after like 7 years. There's lots to cover. There's lots of legal happening. I just think this conversation needed to happen. So thank you guys for giving the mods the shout outs that they absolutely deserve. It's not easy when we talk about polarizing topics and polarizing figures. These aren't easy topics to cover, but they are conversations that need to be had. And so monetized or not, we're having the conversation. Whether or not YouTube wants us to have the conversation, I am going to have it. And I appreciate you being here to have it and to talk about it and to parse through the fact that these things aren't clear-cut issues. These are things that work a lot in the gray zone, and the morality of it is like, this sucks. It does suck. But the legal of it becomes more gray, and that's where the conversations I find are really helpful, I hope. So if this was helpful, please let me know. Let's pull up COPO real quick. All right, y'all, with over 9,000 votes on the YouTubes, Marvel smashed DC. And honestly, I think a lot of it's because their movies are better. But a lot of you did say, hey, I think that DC has a very interesting universe and their cartoons and comic books are better. Marvel has smashed it on the movies. I saw a number of comments that I thought were really well taken that were like, look, the DC universe is about, gods trying to become human, and the Marvel universe is about humans trying to become gods. And you get a lot of characters in the Marvel universe that don't have your traditional superpowers. So it was very interesting to me to look at the way you guys tackled the issue, because better is so subjective. What means better? Better movies, better characters, better actors. What I loved when I was a child, better comic books, better cartoons, better TV shows. What means better? And I love how you guys parsed what means better. Excuse me. So if you haven't looked through the comments on this or on Twitter, the comments are fantastic. I love seeing how, sorry about the throat. I love seeing how you guys attacked this question. Jessica Thomas says Marvel has the most rewatchable movies, and with the universe expanding, it keeps getting better. DC doesn't build on a franchise. That's fair. After 3 or so movies, it replaces Batman and starts from scratch. I do find that the current Marvel universe is more immersive. I get it. So Marvel 82%, DC 18%, over 9,000 votes. Over on the Twitter, over 2,000 votes. I clearly calculated this wrong because there's still time left to vote, but we're at 82.9 to 17.1. It's fascinating to me. I know some of you vote in both polls, but a lot of you don't, that the percentages work out about the same, even though different people are voting. It's fascinating to me. And that's where I'm like, okay, court of public opinion, we've got it. And then, as you're seeing in the news ticker on the side, the suspect in Colorado has been charged, which is a good update. So the comments were fascinating. I love both. I prefer Marvel. The storylines, depth of characters, character development, and the Easter eggs just make it all so fun and exciting to watch with Marvel and Superman from DC Comics. And people do tend to have their one or two favorites from DC. I love Batman, but Marvel as a universe wins for me. So that's where I break down on what's better. So the comments are a lot of fun. If you want to see how people attack a problem, the Court of Public Opinion is a great way to do that. And hipster Orson Welles, comics DC, animated DC, movies Marvel. How do we decide better? So I love that. I love seeing how you guys approach it. It's been a heavy one today. We've covered a lot. Thank you for engaging and continuing to engage in the conversations about the laws that shape our lives. I think watching what happens from here is going to be one of these things that kind of reshapes the way people engage on social media a bit. And I hope that it is. People need to take social media influence more seriously. And you don't have a movie studio or an agent as a YouTuber calling you going, you're not hireable because of this shit, or trying to stop you or covering up the shit, because that happens in Hollywood too. Influencers have to build that in themselves with their integrity and with the people around them who they trust that can say, this isn't it. These aren't your values. Stand in who you are. The views will come, and have faith in yourself. Do not chase views, because what I've seen is the chasing views of the bigger, bolder, more is what's leading to the problems for both Logan Paul and David Dobrik. Thank you again for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. See you soon. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube